You are absolutely, positively not going to believe this story, but I need you to trust me for the next few minutes because every ridiculous, impossible detail I'm about to spill is 100% true. This all kicked off as most great American disasters tend to do, with a man in pressed khaki cargo shorts, clipboard in hand, self-appointed savior of property values, who decided his crusade against illegal garden gnome placement gave him the right to break into our ranch. And let me tell you, that was the single worst decision of his gloriously bureaucratic life. You want to picture it? This guy, Franklin Vance, the HOA's enforcer, the community standards advocate, or whatever title he made up for himself, actually scaled our 6-foot fence at dawn, landed in a splatter of mud by the compost heap, and instantly found himself in a zero-tolerance, high-speed chase with Brutus. Now, Brutus is not just a bull. He's a 2,000-pound registered Black Angus with a bad attitude and absolutely no sense of humor. The man didn't stand a chance. He just vanished, evaporated, right into the dense redwood grove at the edge of our property line, like the earth just opened up and swallowed him. And get this all went down before I'd even had my first shot of espresso. That is exactly the state I was in, standing there in bunny-eared fuzzy socks, clutching a cast-iron skillet still greasy from scrambled eggs, calling 911 at 6:14 in the morning, trying to convince the dispatcher that, no, this was not a prank, and yes, our bull really will chase trespassers off the property. Ma'am, Brutus is a creature of deep conviction, I told her, and he views unauthorized humans as an affront to bovine sovereignty. She thought I was drunk. I could hear it in her voice. I just hung up. But as soon as I stepped outside, still shivering, I found the first clue near the weeping willows. A single, mud-caked, expensive loafer, Franklin's pride and joy, sitting forlornly by the fountain, next to a clipboard stabbed so perfectly into my rosemary bush it looked like modern art. That's the moment I knew my boring little life on Willow Creek Lane had just been yanked into the vortex of something way weirder, way darker than the usual HOA nonsense. See, our side of the street was always a mess. Paddocks, a couple of wild horses, the whole frontier vibe, but right across the fence, Crestwood Heights was this neon green wonderland of Stepford-style perfection. Sprinklers popped up in perfect sync, grass trimmed to a military buzz cut, neighbors out at sunrise with leaf blowers attacking imaginary lint. And Franklin, oh Franklin, he patrolled those sidewalks like a mall cop on a power trip, wraparound shades glued to his face even indoors, always clutching his sacred clipboard, even had business cards printed on thick cardstock, despite not getting paid a cent. And the rules, oh, the rules. 2 weeks before all this, he fined us $250 because the shadow from our barn vent supposedly stretched 3/4 of an inch past the permitted structure line at solar noon. He was relentless. This was a man who needed to believe the world could be made perfect, one violation notice at a time. But none of that prepared me for what the security camera showed at 6:07 that morning. Franklin crouched by our side fence, glancing around like a raccoon about to rob a bank, then vaulting himself over, right into Brutus's favorite sunbathing and relieving spot. The man didn't get 10 feet before Brutus spotted him, bellowed so loud it rattled the window glass, and charged. You should have seen it. Franklin tried to leap over the koi pond, slipped on a wind chime, tore out my late-season lavender, and just dove full panic into the redwoods. He didn't break a branch, didn't even leave a trail, just vanished. My husband Leo, retired cybersecurity architect, prefers cows to people, came jogging over, still holding a wrench from his morning fence check, blinking like he wasn't sure if he was awake. Did Brutus just ingest the HOA? He asked, deadpan. I just pointed at the evidence, the mangled loafer, the impaled clipboard, Brutus contentedly chewing on a faux leather strap. We called the police again. There's a man missing, I said, struggling to sound calm. Chased into the woods by a bull. They promised to send someone. They didn't. That's when the real chill hit. In Crestwood Heights, tire tracks on a curb brought swift justice. But when the chief enforcer disappeared, dead silence. No sirens, no neighborhood watch, nothing, like the whole street had agreed to keep its mouth shut. Leo's paranoia kicked in. We searched the grounds, Found Franklin's walkie-talkie, some weird military-grade thing, not a regular two-way radio. Leo fiddled with it, finally got some static, and caught a chilling, garbled snippet. Perimeter clear. Filed Del 9 acquisition on target. Leo's face went pale. That's not civilian comms. That's encrypted tactical, way above Franklin's pay grade. We went back to the security footage. It showed Franklin jumping, Brutus charging, but the second Franklin hit the tree line, the screen went black. 10-minute gap, just static. No animals, no wind, nothing. Kill switch, Leo muttered. Somebody accessed our camera system, remotely. That's when it hit me. Our own neighbors had hacked us. All for a bull chase? I mean, come on. I was done playing. I marched over to Prudence Thorne's house, the HOA president, a monument to suburban tyranny. Her place was blinding. Hedges pruned with surgical precision, every brick shining, the air scented with condescension. She answered the door in a cashmere robe, smile tight as piano wire. Franklin Trespassed was chased by our livestock, and now he's missing. What's going on? I demanded. She just adjusted her scarf and replied, Franklin's experiencing stress-related fatigue. He's on unscheduled personal leave. Lady, the man was chased into the woods by a bull. She didn't flinch. He's very passionate about community standards. Sometimes that takes a toll. I'm sure he'll resurface. Then, door shut, softer than a bank vault. Conversation over. I smelled a rat. Actually, I smelled a whole pack of them. So I turned to the neighborhood oracle, Mrs. Adeline Higgins, 98 years old, sharp as a tack. She said Franklin had been muttering about secret board meetings and files hidden in Prudence's shed. He said there's USBs, violation reports. He looked like he'd seen a ghost, she rasped. That evening, Brutus dug up a waterlogged HOA newsletter wrapped around a note. They know about the buyouts. Prudence is scrubbing the digital files. North Sector scans tomorrow. Move fast. Dated 3 days ago. Leo's face darkened. Buyouts mean property. This is about land, not rules. Things snapped into focus after I talked to Angela Monroe. Quiet, sweet, grows the best squash you've ever tasted. He was building a list, she whispered. Prudence uses fines to force people into default, then buys up their homes through a shell company, Clearview Properties. It's not about weeds, it's about control. That night, I saw Prudence, trench coat and gardening gloves, slipping through the dark toward Angela's fence, carrying a thick manila folder. Leo watched through binoculars. She's dropping something. Not cookies, I bet. Next morning, folder gone, but the seed was planted. Leo cross-referenced foreclosure records, every home bought by Clearview Properties, and every single compliance waiver signed by Prudence, HOA president and witness for the sales. We needed proof. So when the HOA announced a surprise yard excellence audit, Leo and I slipped through Prudence's back gate while the clipboard army marched the block. Inside her lemon-scented, aggressively spotless garage, we found it, a locked cabinet digital keypad hidden behind a stack of organic fertilizer. Leo cracked it in 60 seconds. Inside, USB drives, maps of the neighborhood, color-coded with dots, green for compliant, yellow for vulnerable, a huge red circle around our house labeled problem asset. High resistance, watch closely. A master plan for a hostile takeover, down to credit scores, photos taken through windows, surveillance notes, even a folder marked reprimand and containment. F. Vance. The bottom of that file? Escalation unnecessary if individual remains quiet. If not, initiate relocation. Relocation. Such a nice word for such a nasty thing. We made copies, but the fun wasn't over. That night, a drone buzzed the backyard. Brutus went berserk, and we caught a second drone hovering over Prudence's place. She knows we know, Leo whispered. The next morning, we threw a Brutus-themed neighborhood barbecue. Everyone came, everyone had a story, and by sunset, half the block was ready to revolt. And right then, the call came, a blocked number, a breathless whisper. This is Franklin. They're watching the power lines. Don't trust anyone from aboard. I have proof. I need help. The man was alive. Next day, Detective Reese Morgan showed up. Sharp eyes, no small talk. She listened to the walkie-talkie audio and said, "That's private security-grade tech. Not your average neighborhood watch." Then Brutus, champion of lost electronics, dug up Franklin's mudcake cell phone. It was wiped except for one file, a frantic video confession. "If I disappear, it was an accident. They have recordings. Don't believe the emails. They're coming for us." That's when we set the trap. Planted a decoy laptop in the garage, loaded with fake whistleblower emails, window unlatched. At 2:11 a.m., the motion sensor pinged. A figure slipped inside. Malcolm Cross, HOA treasurer, moving like someone who'd rather be in a heist movie. He plugged in a flash drive. Leo hit the lights. Brutus roared. I charged out with my trusty skillet, but Malcolm vaulted the fence like he'd done this before. What caught him wasn't my frying pan, but Leo's high-def camera, face, flash drive, everything. 2 days later, 3 unmarked cars rolled down Willow Creek Lane. Detective Morgan kept her promise. Prudence was arrested at her front door, her composure crumbling as they handed her the warrant. Malcolm tried a bolt, dropped a USB into a bird feeder before getting cuffed. The news spread like wildfire, suburban surveillance scandal. Brutus earned his own hashtag, Bullafustus. Turns out, Prudence had run a racketeering operation for over a year, using HOA power to target vulnerable residents, retirees, families on hard times, slamming them with fines, forcing defaults, snapping up their homes through Clearview. Franklin, scared for his family, had tried to blow the whistle, found a file with his sister's address on it, and went into hiding. He gave us the key to Prudence's secret storage unit. Inside, we found it all. Asset rotation plans, psychological risk scores, even behavioral resilience numbers for neighbors like they were livestock. We turned everything over to Detective Morgan. The whole board went down. The HOA was dissolved. Angela ran for the new neighborhood council, won in a landslide, and wiped out every bogus violation. And Brutus? He got promoted to honorary mascot. Franklin moved into a little cottage. No more hiding, no more fear. We never bothered to put the perimeter fence back up. Brutus still roams, still occasionally knocks over a recycling bin, but these days it just earns a laugh instead of fine. Most nights now, I sit on the porch with Leo, watching the sun set over lawns that are finally allowed to be a little wild, a little real. We want a suburban war with a bull, a camera, and a whole lot of stress baking, he says. And he's right. We didn't return to some step 4 version of perfection. We built something better. A place where people aren't afraid. So, now I want to hear from you. Was it right to use our bull and our wits to take down the HOA? Should Franklin have risked everything sooner, or was running the only sane option? And have you ever dealt with an HOA that thought it ruled the world? Drop your wildest stories or hot takes below. Smash that like button if you think Brutus deserves a steak, and hit subscribe so you don't miss what insanity happens next on Willow Creek Lane. Thanks for sticking around. And hey, stay safe out there. You never know who's watching the power lines.